Okay, now I'm finally getting around to making a video that I meant to make months ago and of course forgot to do. Back when I posted the very first video on my channel about the Gerber order and the plain edge version of it that you can get at Walmart. Somebody was asking how I could flick it open, like so. Which, it looks cool, it sounds cool, and it scares the sheeple. Boom, it's out. And this is a technique that you're probably already aware of if you own a Spyderco knife or any knife where you have an actual deployment hole milled or cut into the blade instead of a thumb stud. So it's not necessarily something you can only do with the Spyderco, obviously, because I'm doing it with my Gerber. And what I'm doing is I'm taking my middle finger, and yes, you can use your middle finger for something other than making people angry in traffic. I'm just holding the knife in hand. Usually the end of your handle is going to be down here, kind of stabilized by the base of your thumb. Your index finger is going to be up here by the pivot on the other side. And with your middle finger, you're pushing on the deployment hole, and imagine you're trying to push toward your pivot screw, and you're building up pressure, trying to move in a straight line toward the pivot screw, and eventually you're going to overcome the detent that holds your blade in the handle, and you want your middle finger to pop out this way, like so, and the knife just flies open. And I'm making it sound a lot easier than it really is. It takes practice. But any knife that has a hole milled into the blade rather than a thumb stud screwed on or whatever, you can do this. So with even a fairly small knife, and if you try to go with something as small as, oh, I don't know, a Spyderco Dragonfly, it gets kind of difficult. And let's say I tried this 10 times with the Dragonfly, and maybe 2 times out of the 10 I would get it right and I would get it fully open. So when you get down to something this small, you don't even want to bother trying to flick it open anymore. You would have to do it the way Spyderco actually intended you to. Imagine that. Just a slow, controlled opening with the spider hole in that blade. And I find the smallest knife I can comfortably do this with my big Sasquatch spidery hands, would be the Spyderco Delica. You can do this pretty well with the Delica because the detent is so strong on this. You have such a strong back spring in the mid lockback on this knife. You can do the same thing. I got my middle finger in the spider hole, pushing toward the pivot screw as if I'm trying to push in a straight line toward the pivot screw, building up pressure to overcome the detent, and boom, it just flies open. Just like that. And again, you don't want to do this around people who are blade shy, because it's opening basically as fast as an automatic, and he's got a knife, oh, he's gonna kill somebody, he's gonna hurt someone. Nah. If I'm sitting somewhere bored, riding in the passenger seat of the car or whatever, I don't need a fidget spinner. This is my fidget spinner. I'll just sit there and do this all day. Boom. So the Delica is about the smallest knife you can comfortably do this with, or that I can do this with anyway. Maybe somebody with smaller hands could do it more easily with the Dragonfly. Or your Para 3, about the same size as the Delica. Boom, it's out. Just like so. So you can do it with a fairly small knife, or you can do it with something a little bit bigger. Here's a Spyderco Introvert. Why you would do this with the Introvert, I don't know, because you do have flipper deployment on this one. But, like the Delica, you have a nice strong lockback with a strong positive detent. So, if for some reason, yeah, you wanted to do that, you wanted to do this with the Introvert, you could. Boom, it's out. Same technique on all of them. Just imagine you're trying to push in a straight line toward your pivot screw, and it flies right out. So yeah, you can do it with a fairly small knife like any of those, or what's a big Spyderco? How about a Manix 2 XL? Woo, one of the largest folders Spyderco makes. Same thing. If anything, it's a little bit easier with this, just because the blade is so big and heavy and thick. Just the weight of the blade gives it a little bit more momentum coming out. And again, this ball bearing lock here, with that little spring-loaded pin behind that ball bearing, the caged ball bearing, it works pretty well, even for a large knife like this one, or a paramilitary too. I have a lot of Spydercos. I got like 10 or 11 Spydercos around here. Paramilitary too, that I carry with me all the freaking time. No different. And finally, a full-sized Spyderco military. Same thing. Pushing in a straight line toward the pivot screw. Building up pressure, boom, and it's out. And the full-size Spyderco military in particular makes kind of a fearsome, authoritative sound when you open it like this. Woo! It's a good sound. Very, very good sound to scare the bad guys off or scare the politically correct people who always ask, oh, why are you carrying a knife with you? Are you going to hurt somebody? Oh, probably just myself. Oh well. So, as long as it's, in my case anyway, with my long fingers, a large enough knife with a strong enough detent, doesn't necessarily have to be with a Spyderco. Just anything with a decent enough detent and a large enough deployment hole. And again, I'm making it sound a lot easier than it really is. It takes practice. I had to practice it like all afternoon before I could even do it, even remotely consistently. But with time and patience and practice, yes, you can do it with a Gerber order or pretty much any large enough Spyderco. Okay, rapid fire. Here we go. Maybe not. Take two. Okay, rapid fire. Here we go. I enjoyed myself.